Welcome on into a special on-location edition of the Barn Baseball Show, post-game edition. Lindsay Crosby, Brad Law, here after Auburn's 9-5 victory over Central Connecticut in Game 1 of the Auburn Regional. Ton of stuff to get to, Brad. Really impressed with the Tigers tonight. But I think we can't talk about this game without talking about Carson Myers. Just comes in place of Cam Tilley, who really struggled with his control. Myers throws a career-high 104 pitches, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. You talked to him after the game. What was his thoughts on how he did?
Well, he knew he needed to come in and pitch well for his team. It was an important spot. He was amped up. He had a lot of adrenaline the first inning or two. Yeah. And Coach Thompson actually talked about this too, that maybe dialing back a little bit, taking a little something off was one of the keys. And he started hitting his spots. He pitched in, he pitched out, he pitched up, he pitched down in the zone. The breaking ball, the changeup, the fastball. Late in the outing, it was a little more fastball. And it worked because he located it really well. And it took him a couple of innings to get everything set. But, you know, Carson's one of these guys who his passion for his team is really evident. And you're going to have to drag him off the field tonight. Important spot, clearly the biggest story of the game, where his 6 innings, a career outing for Carson Myers.
And just about every single way. And it makes me wonder now, jumping ahead a little bit, assuming that Auburn gets through the weekend, hosts the Super Regional next weekend. The struggles you saw from Cam Tilley early, and I think some of that was being amped up a little bit. It was a little wilder than we've seen in the past. Is it possible that Myers is somebody they look at and say, hey, we think we're going to have you start one of those 3 games? Or do you think they go back to Tilley and give him another opportunity?
I think it's possible. Carson has starting experience, but I really do think they believe in Cam Tilley. And just like your first start, period, your first SEC start's different from your first non-conference start. Your first regional start in front of a record crowd, never had an atmosphere. I mean, even with all the great atmospheres we've seen, we haven't seen one like this that we had tonight. So I think it's different. And I think the experience tonight is the next step in the growth process for Cam Tilley.
And given a different setup of super regionals where it's 2 out of 3 against one team, you're not playing with the winners and losers bracket, it does feel like you could go back to Sam Dutton for game 1, and then obviously you have the option to Cam Tilley could come in later, and if you for a game 2 or game 3, and you can adjust if you need to there. It's different from this where you can't get into a hole early. You need to win game 1 to stay in the winners bracket. All right, need to talk about the offense. I want to talk about the defense too. Let's do the offense first. 13 hits, 9 runs, and it felt like there were, no bigger hit than the Lucas Steele home run.
No question. Central Connecticut had tied the game at 4 in the top of the 3rd, and immediately to start the bottom of that inning, Lucas gets the home run. Auburn reclaims the lead. They go on to score 3 more times in that inning. And then you think maybe we're in store for a 16-14 type of ball game.
A slow pitch softball score. Somebody said it in the press box.
We said on the radio broadcast tonight that we thought it was going to take a lot more than 5, 6, or 7 runs to win. It took more than that, but not just a whole lot more. It was really the bulk of the scoring was done early. Loved seeing 4, 5, 6 straight guys reach in a row. And the coaches talk about linking up at bats and connecting at bats, and that's what they're able to do. First 4 get on in that bottom of the 3rd, and they come home to score. Steele just continues to play so well at home. Auburn's got 5 or 6 guys who are just astronomically better at home at the plate, and we saw that again in this game tonight.
The biggest thing for me when I think about coming into this game and what some would call an overmatched opponent, Central Connecticut, would be the power production in the home runs. Auburn only had 1 because, to your point, a lot of these crooked number innings were single followed by a double followed by a single, drawing some walks in there, taking advantage of an error or 2. Both teams played a little sloppy. We'll get to that in a second. But just, multiple players. I want to say everybody in the starting lineup, but Eric Guevara had a hit, and he still got on base via 2 walks. And just complete offensive effort, which is not something you always necessarily get.
And I want to kind of use Eric as an example of this. He had 9 walks on the year before tonight, and he walked twice. This was a really small strike zone
Oh my gosh.
And so you saw Auburn was conservative on the base paths, didn't try to steal a whole lot, didn't try to, score from second a whole lot more. That they weren't ultra aggressive on the base paths. I think the coaches understood that with a tighter strike zone, you're going to get more pitches to hit.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get more opportunities. You don't have to go all out. It's not a deal where offense is at a premium or hittable pitches were at a premium tonight. Yeah. You were going to get plenty. And so I thought strategically that's the way Auburn played it offensively. And guys took the walks. They took those free bases. They took the single. And they were smart on the base paths, I thought, tonight.
Yeah, like not giving up outs on the base paths.
Yeah.
I do think it's great. Auburn walks 8 times, only strikes out 6. But in a testament to what Butch Thompson has tried to do all year with the pitching staff, Auburn only issues 4 walks.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very tight strike zone. They're still filling up the zone. Myers filling up the zone. Parker Carlson filling up the zone.
Yep.
And they're Central Connecticut, a team that we talked about, doesn't have a ton of power, is really having to work off of stringing together hits.
Yeah.
They didn't get the advantage of having those extra walks.
Yeah.
To try to load the bases up when they got those hits.
That's exactly right. And now they did. A couple of them scored.
Yeah.
A couple of the 4 they got did.
A couple of the free
home.
runners did, yeah.
Right. And which is why we just you hammer this point home over and over again. Those free base runners will kill you. Make them hit with 1 on base instead of 3. They're going to get hits. They had double-digit hits tonight.
14.
They did a great job with 2 strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn got to 2 strikes over and over and over again.
Couldn't put guys away.
So that's to their credit.
Yeah.
But again, because they didn't have that plethora, they didn't have the hit batters and more than the 4 walks, they're able to limit that damage. And then again, once Myers got his stuff set,
it was over.
Yeah, that was it.
And of those 14 hits, 13 singles, 1 extra base hit the entire time. And it was, I almost want to say, almost in spite of the Auburn defense, we saw a little bit of a different defensive alignment. Bub Terrell in center, Ike Irish in left, Chris Rembert in right.
Yeah. And
it felt like Eric Snow struggled a little bit. He did get an error. And there was a little bit, especially early, some miscommunication in the outfield. I remember first inning, a soft liner kind of in no man's land.
Yep.
Felt like it should have been Bub Terrell's ball. He didn't call anybody off. Chris Rembert couldn't quite get to it and falls for a hit. Just the kind of thing that doesn't normally happen for an Auburn coach defense.
Yeah, Chris got his glove on that ball that you're talking about in right. And again, that's just an early misplay. Chris has played a lot of right field.
Yeah.
The different alignment there was Bub in center and Ike in
Bub's not
in
used
left.
to calling him off and having him to his left. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. With Eric at second base, you didn't have Rembert there. You put Snow there. I thought Eric had a critical double play.
He did.
That he turned late that kind of flipped the momentum. Parker Carlson came into the game, gives up a couple hits, gives up a run, guys on base. Snow turns that double play, and on the very next pitch, there's a fly out to right field, and the inning is over. It flipped. So again, I think you chalk some of this up, Lindsay, to, I think anyway, I don't know for sure, but I think you chalk some of that up to guys playing in an environment that's unlike anything that they have played in front of before. And the pressure is different in a regional situation. Ultimately, they did enough to keep what could have been something that turned into something really negative from turning into something really negative.
Yeah, and I think before we kind of get out of here, I do want to talk about the environment. 7,367, a new record. It feels like we've set half a dozen of them this season.
Yeah.
But all of the additions that Auburn has added, you guys can see the field behind us. There's temporary setups over there by the patio, like the Tiger Terrace.
Yeah.
There's additional seating out in center field for the students. They roped off a large section, and something we could hear from the press box. The entire visitor bullpen is surrounded by fans now.
Yep.
And there was a contingent of students out there that did not care what was going on in the game. If somebody was in that bullpen throwing, they were letting them know that the Auburn family is here and is ready to watch them perform. And so I do think the environment, to your point, guys got a little amped up, but I do think it probably, in the end, had a positive effect both ways in this game.
No question about it. And again, credit to the administration, to everybody who worked to add. They could have said, well, 7,000's plenty.
Yeah.
No, let's add a few hundred more and the extra video board and really go all out and embrace the term host all the way around for everybody involved, including the fans who are taking this in. I thought the fans were more engaged with every pitch, especially in the first inning, than they have been for any other game. It's the postseason. You could tell that from the atmosphere here. I would expect that to even be, I don't expect that to take a back seat when they're back here tomorrow against Stetson in this winner's bracket game. I think it's only going forward, only going to be louder and even more engaged. And, Munn threw 122 pitches. There weren't a whole lot of opportunities for guys to be heckled in the visitors' bullpen in the game out there tonight. So I think you see a little more of that in the game tomorrow.
6 innings, 10 hits, 9 runs, 122 pitches for Central Connecticut starter. And we were looking in the press box. He does this all the time.
Yeah.
This is his normal usage. He's used to this. Just absolutely dominant. Brad alluded to it. Tomorrow, 8 p.m., Stetson versus Auburn. I was talking to some people within the program a little earlier in the day after Stetson won. This is probably a tougher matchup than NC State would have been because Stetson plays a really clean form of baseball. We saw what they did against NC State in the early game. Any kind of thoughts on what Auburn's in for tomorrow night?
Well, they're facing a confident Stetson team. Yeah. Confidence comes from a set of undeniable data that you are who you say you are. Well, they're a conference champion. They're a regular season champion. Yep. So they've done it consistently through the course of multiple weeks to win a regular season title. They have confidence that comes from that. They had an early offense in this ballpark yesterday. They have confidence that comes from that. They played defense. They played lights out defense. The shortstop made 2 or 3 stellar plays. Right fielder, first baseman picked one at first. They played outstanding defense. They have confidence they've earned from doing that. So it's a team with confidence. It's a team that has won. It's a team that anytime you play a team from the ASUN or a similar conference, these are guys that play with a chip on their shoulder. Yeah. They're out to prove something, and they're going to come in here with that chip on their shoulder firmly in place tomorrow.
Just because it's a 3 seed doesn't mean it's going to be easy, guys.
That's right.
This has been a special on-location edition of the Barn Baseball Show post-game after Auburn's 9-5 victory over Central Connecticut. For Brad Law, I'm Lindsay Crosby. This has been the Barn Baseball Show.